Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to start a new course that is Engineering Hydrology. So I welcome you all in this course on Engineering Hydrology. This is the third course of Water Resources Engineering. You have already studied two courses. One is Fluid Mechanics. This is Hydraulics. Another course was in your last semester, Hydraulics and Hydraulic Machines. And this is the third course, Engineering Hydrology. Okay. In your final year, you will also study one course related to hydraulic design of water resources structures. So the name of subject may be anything like water resources engineering or hydraulic design of structures. So that you will study in final year. So as a total, you study 4 subjects related to water resources engineering. If you see, if you talk about different specializations related to civil engineering, so you study many specializations like geotechnical engineering, about the structures, about transportation engineering, similarly like concrete technology. So this is also about the water resources engineering. Today we will be starting this course, and again there are 5 units in this course. First 2 units are related to surface water hydrology. Unit 3 is related to flood modeling, and unit 4 and 5 they are related to groundwater hydrology. So overall in this course we will be talking about the concept of hydrology. Okay. When we see this term, so already you are familiar with this term engineering. All of you are in the process of being a good engineer, so you are familiar with this. What do we study in hydrology? Okay. Again, you see this term logy, L-O-G-Y. Many times you will see this term like in biology, sociology, zoology, geology. What we have to study in this? Hydro means water. Okay. So if you have to define or you have to say what do we have to study in this course, I can simply say hydrology is the science of water which deals with occurrence, distribution and circulation of water in the nature. Okay. So I will say it is the science of water. Okay. It deals with occurrence. You will be talking about the existence of water, how it is distributed, and how it is getting circulated. So all this we will study in this course, okay, in the nature. Here we will also discuss one term. All of you are familiar with this. You have seen many times about the water cycle, or simply we call hydrological cycle. Okay. What is this hydrological cycle? All of you are familiar with this. So as we have seen in case of hydrology, similarly you can also explain for this hydrological cycle. You will say hydrological cycle describes the occurrence, distribution and circulation of water in the nature. Okay. So again it will be describing, it will be giving you the whole idea about the circulation and distribution of water and how it is getting existed. So we will be looking in this hydrological cycle. Okay. I will also be drawing one figure. You will better understand by that. If you talk in the nature, so there is earth surface over the nature. So there is earth surface in the nature. So these are the, you can say these are the mountains, then plain terrain, many rivers may be there. Okay, so there are also so many plants over there, many structures are there, so a lot of things are over the ground surface. Okay, so again you may have different rivers, and after that we cannot draw all the things over here, but we can have the idea. So there is some many buildings, many structures may be there, many trees. These are the hilly areas. Okay, these are the ocean, river, so many streams, ponds, so many things are over the ground surface, and this is the ground surface. Okay, so what actually happens, whatever resources are available over the ground surface, okay, so many resources may be there, ocean, rivers, streams, ponds, so all these comes in the category of surface water. Okay, I will write all these resources are there, they are called surface water. So one existence of the water, one occurrence of the water, you can easily say a huge amount of water is available over the ground surface. So this is called surface water. Water from the ocean, water from the rivers, or whatever water is available over the ground surface, it is also getting evaporated. Okay, there is also formation of the clouds. A lot of humidity is available over the atmosphere. So huge amount of water is also available in the atmosphere in the form of clouds. Okay, again this is the rainy season. So every day you are getting, you are seeing the rainfall is occurring. So these are the clouds. So huge amount of water is available. I can write another occurrence, you can atmospheric water. So another occurrence is atmospheric water. Huge amount of water is available in the atmosphere. So one is surface water, another is atmospheric water. Third thing you can say, below the ground surface again huge amount of water is available. If you go few meters below or few feet below, you will get, again I don't need to make it straight, it may be any shape. Okay, I simply write this is the suppose groundwater table. Okay, this is groundwater table. So if you go few meters below or few feet below the ground surface, you will get some groundwater table. Okay, actually water that is available below the ground surface, that is also known as subsurface water. I can use this term subsurface water. And how you can define this? You will say for surface water you will be saying all the water available over the ground surface, that is called surface water. Okay, atmospheric water, all the water which is available in the sky in the form of clouds, in the form of humidity, that is called atmospheric water. Similarly, water that is available below the ground surface is called subsurface water. So I will simply write all the water which occurs beneath the ground surface, that is called subsurface water. Okay, again if you see how this water is getting stored in the ground. So if you see that is also called the porous media. What is the meaning of that? Because till now you have not studied the soil mechanics or geotechnical engineering. So I'm taking some example over here. So how this water is getting stored? If you take out some sample from this region, suppose this is the below the ground surface and I am taking out this some sample. So this is some soil sample. So a lot of solid particles, soil grains may be there. Okay, these are the soil grains, solid particles. Okay, in between these solid particles, again these are called the voids. Again, how much void space will be there? It depends on the type of soil. Okay, 1 second, I need to check whether recording is going on or not. Okay, good, it is going on. So if you see these voids, so these voids may be filled by air or may be filled by water. Okay, below the water table, this zone is also called saturated zone. Till now you may not be familiar with this, what is this saturation or what is partially saturated. Above the water table we call it the partially saturated or unsaturated zone. This is saturated zone and this is unsaturated zone. Okay, this is saturated zone and this is unsaturated zone. Okay, so in case of this unsaturated zone, if you look at any soil sample, so these voids may be filled with air as well as water, both may be there. But below the groundwater table, all the voids will be filled with the water. Only water will be there, no air will be there. So they come in the category of saturated. You will be saying all the voids are saturated. That's why it is called saturated zone. Okay. Now we see one interesting thing over here. Actually, first two units are related to surface water hydrology. So how this cycle is going on? So if someone is asking about the occurrence of the water, you will say surface water, subsurface water, and another is atmospheric water. So this is the occurrence of water. Okay. Again, there is also circulation of water. That's why it is called hydrological cycle or water cycle. The water that is available over the ground surface, this water is getting evaporated because due to temperature, due to sunlight, they are getting heat. So these a lot of water particles, they are easy to escape from the surface. All of you are also familiar with the process of surface tension. So evaporation of the water takes place. Okay, there is formation of the clouds, and after condensation, when they are colliding with each other, these are moving with each these are moving. So after condensation, the process of condensation takes place. We will talk about different types of or different what is the mechanism of the precipitation in the next class. But after condensation, the precipitation occurs. Okay, and whatever amount of precipitation is there, some amount of that precipitation is evaporated back. It is not reaching to the ground surface, and huge amount of that is reaching to the ground surface. Okay, now what happens? Whatever amount of water is reaching on the ground surface, some part of that is intercepted or trapped by the vegetation, some part of trapped, some part of precipitation, I just write PPT. This precipitation may also be again in the form of many forms may be there. It may be in the form of rainfall, snowfall may be there. This is also assignment to you. What may be the different forms of precipitation? You have to give the answer. What are the different forms of precipitation and how it is depending on the size of the particles, when it is called dew, when it is called fog, and when it is called rainfall. In Indian context or in our country, if we are talking about, most of the time when we are talking about the precipitation, always we will say for rainfall. In western countries, snowfall, a huge amount of snowfall is also there because their temperature is also very low, so that's why snowfall is also there. But in India, mostly it is the rainfall. Okay, so some part of that precipitation is reaching on the ground. So whatever amount of precipitation or rainfall is reaching on the ground, some part is trapped by vegetation, plants. Okay, I just write plants, build structures. Okay, so it is getting trapped by all these. This comes in the category of interception. Okay, this is called interception. This much of amount of precipitation is intercepted by the plants and plant leaves. Okay, when rainfall is occurring, you will be seeing some amount of precipitation is also resting over the tree, over the plant leaves. So some amount is also resting over the building roofs. After that, it is getting evaporated like that. Some amount of that precipitation is used, some part is used in filling the small pits, ponds, etc. And this is called this thing is called depression storage or dead storage. Or dead storage. Okay, so we are talking about whatever amount of precipitation is occurring, some amount is trapped by the plant structures. Okay, and some amount is used as a depression store. All these two comes in the category of initial loss. Okay, why it is called loss, we will talk about this later. Okay, so some amount is used as a initial loss. What happens after that? Whatever amount of precipitation is occurring, some amount of that is also evaporated. Okay, some is this, some part of precipitation is evaporated. Okay, it is evaporated into the atmosphere. Okay, and some part of that, so first is initial loss, another may be due to evaporation, and some part of this precipitation goes into the ground. Some part of precipitation you can say percolates or goes into the ground, percolates into the or below the ground surface. Okay, it is going into the ground surface. Okay, this is called infiltration. So now you see what is the actual figure. The precipitation is occurring. Some is intercepted by the plants, plant leaves, building roofs, like that. Some is trapped by the pits, ponds, etc. as a dead storage. Some is evaporated. Some is intercepted. It is going into the ground, and the remaining part of that pressure, that precipitation, okay, will be flowing over the surface or over the land and meeting the nearby river. Okay, it is flowing over the ground surface. You will be seeing when the precipitation is occurring, the a lot of amount of butter is flowing over the surface. So it is joining the nearby rivers. This is called, and this flow is called surface flow, because butter is flowing over the surface. It is called surface flow or overland flow. It is flowing as a surface flow or overland flow. Now we see what actually happens, water that is going into the ground. Okay, water that is going into the ground, we see what happens to that. First, it is infiltrated below the ground surface, and after that it may also start flowing as a subsurface flow. So it may also flow as a subsurface flow. Okay. Again, we can have two different types of subsurface flow. Although at this time you are not very much familiar with soil mechanics, but wherever it is needed, I will give you some basic concepts related to that. This subsurface flow may be quick flow. What is the meaning of that? Sometimes, suppose this water is flowing, this is the flow over the ground surface, and this is flowing, but very easily it is reaching, because we use two terms. One is called porosity, okay, another is called permeability, because unit 3 and 4 are also related to ground water hydrology. So we will see these things in the detail. What is the meaning of that porosity? If any soil sample is there, so these are the soil grains, soil particles are there. Okay, so this is the space. If wide space, how much wide space is available there? So it gives you, this porosity gives idea about that, how much wide space is available. Okay. Permeability, suppose water is flowing through this soil sample, then how easily it can flow, so that will give you the idea about the permeability. Okay, so suppose some this water may also reach very easily, or if some impermeable. What is the meaning of, if I use, this is permeability, if I use permeable, another opposite of that may be impermeable. Okay, so permeable, impermeable. This is porosity, so this may be the related to that, pervious, and another may be impervious. So these two are the opposite term, these two are the opposite terms. If porosity is good, you will say it is pervious. If porosity is very small, you will say it is like impervious. Permeability is good, very easily water can flow, you will say it is permeable. If water very easily water is not able to flow, suppose you talk about the rocks. If we take the example, you will see different types of soils. You will be looking for sand. Okay, you may be familiar with this sand, clay. Okay, if you have some concepts of engineering geology is also very important in civil engineering, like rocks. So rocks, you can say they are almost impervious and impermeable, because water cannot easily flow, and even water cannot be stored in that. Sand, clay, they will be able to they will also be able to hold some water, as well as water can also flow through them. So water is stored in the pores in this zone. So it may be the quick flow or it may be delayed flow. It will depend on the formation, which type of formation is. This water, suppose it is percolating over here and it is flowing as a subsurface flow. This may reach to this river in few hours. Sometimes it can also take few weeks. It can also take few months. So based on that, you will be able to say it is quick flow or delayed flow. One thing you should keep in your mind: when water goes into the groundwater flow velocity is very small. Okay, water is flowing, but with a very small velocity. So it can also flow as a subsurface flow, and huge amount of that water is percolating deeper into the ground and joining the water table. It goes below the water table. We use two terms. You don't need to be confused. One, we have used here subsurface water, and sometimes you also see this term groundwater. What is the meaning of this groundwater? Actually, both are not same. Both are different. But groundwater is a different thing. Generally, we use. Although you can say groundwater is all the water which is occurring below the ground surface, that is groundwater. You can have general idea about that. But actually, what is the difference between these two? That we see here. Okay. If you look at this zone, this is saturated zone. If we go few kilometers below, we get the impermeable strata, impermeable rock. I just write here impermeable rock, means water, this is the impermeable layer. So below that, water is called internal water. Few kilometers below, this is called internal water, and it is not easy to take out that water. And when you are pumping out the water, you have a well over here. You are digging the well and you are pumping out the water, some amount of water, suppose Q. So actually you are pumping out from this region, this formation, this region. You are pumping out from this region. So when we are talking about the water resources engineering, or you are pumping out the water, you will be interested in this zone. What happens in this zone? I just talk about. This is the ground surface. Okay, and this is the suppose groundwater table. Okay, and this is the internal water. So what actually happens in this zone? You can classify, or you can divide in three parts. Just below the ground surface, this is called soil water zone. This is called capillary fringe. You are familiar with the process of surface tension. You are also familiar with the process of capillary fringe. Okay. This is called intermediate zone. This is unsaturated zone. We are talking about the unsaturated. Unsaturated zone is also called Vadose zone. Okay. Soil water zone, this is intermediate zone. You may have heard about the phenomena of capillarity. So what happens actually, that you will also get, you will also see here the practical implementation of that. Although you may have studied about the phenomena, but some of you may have never see the application of that, because in case of capillary tube, so that is very small diameter tube. Okay, so above this groundwater table, these are again the soil particles are there, and they form like very small diameter tube. So there is capillary rise. This water is there, but there is capillary rise due to this small diameter tube. So up to some height you will be having that capillary action, but this height again it will depend on the soil particles. Okay, in case of clay particles, where particle size is very small, so you will be having a very larger thickness of this capillary fringe, in few meters may be there. But in case of sandy particle or gravel formation, this thickness of the capillary fringe will be very small, because in case of sandy particles, the size is larger than the capillary fringe. Okay, so in case of sand, larger dia tube will be formed. In case of clay, a small diameter tube will be formed. So that's why you are also familiar with the formula, how the height of the capillary fringe will be depending on the diameter of the tube. I am not going in the detail of that. Okay, what is this? What is the importance of this soil water zone? This is very important from the point of view of agricultural engineering. Actually, plant takes water from this soil water zone. Okay, plant roots takes water from this soil water zone, and it is required for the survival of them, and after that it is flowing through the trunk, and after they are cooking the food, and after that it is reaching to the leaves, and after that it is getting evaporated. Okay, so two types of phenomena takes place in case of plants. One thing is, suppose water is falling over the plant leaves. Okay, plant leaves, it is falling over the plant and it is evaporated. One thing is that. Another thing is that plant roots are taking the water from this soil water zone, and it is moving through the trunk, and after that they are cooking the food, and it is reaching to the plant loops, and after that it is evaporated. So two types of evaporation is taking place. One is directly water is falling over the plant, it is evaporated. That comes in the category of evaporation. And if plants are taking the water from the roots, from the roots, through the roots, and after that it is evaporated, that it comes in the category of transpiration. Okay, I just write over here. Evaporation, and another is called transpiration. Okay, if many times it is not easy to identify whether this water is getting evaporated, this is directly falling over the plant, or it is through the soil water zone. So we also combinedly use one term that is called evapotranspiration. Or we use one term for this, that is called evapotranspiration or consumptive use. So I was again at that time I was saying there is a difference between subsurface water, and subsurface water is all the water that is available below the ground surface, that is called subsurface water. But groundwater, generally water that is available in the saturated zone below the groundwater table, because we are pumping out that water, so that comes in the category of groundwater. Okay, so I can write the definition of this groundwater. Groundwater, all the water which is available below in the saturated zone, because we are pumping out that water, or we are, as a water resources engineering, how much water is available, we are using that water. Okay, now we see the whole thing. What is the so you have seen the circulation or distribution over here. Groundwater, that is also, you are pumping out the groundwater, it is reaching on the ground surface, and after that it is evaporated, so it is going into the atmosphere. After that it is the precipitation occurs, So it is reaching on the ground, there is infiltration, so again there is circulation of the water, and this becomes the hydrological cycle or water cycle. Okay. Now we see, if suppose we talk about some area, or in hydrology or water resources engineering we use one term like basin, okay, or river basin, catchment area, or that is also called catchment area. So if you are talking about any land or any area, we are talking about the catchment area. Okay. So every river will be having its own basin. If I just draw the picture over here, this is suppose catchment area of any river, and the river is flowing like that. Okay, this is some outlet point and this river is flowing. There may also be tributaries of this river. This is the major river, suppose. Okay, like the river Ganga is major river. So again there are tributaries of this major river, tributaries. Again there may also be sub tributaries of these tributaries. So small channels, small streams may be there. River is in at larger scale, stream is, you can say, at a smaller scale. Okay, so this water is flowing. So over this catchment area, how you will be defining this catchment area and what is the meaning of that? We see that if all the water or rainfall is occurring over this area, this will be contributing to this river. This is also called, or we also use another term, watershed. Okay, this is called watershed line. If all the water falling over this region is joining this river, this will be the basin of this river. If water is falling over this point, so it will be contributing to another river. So that will be the catchment area for that river. Okay. One thing, what is actually happened, if we see the thing as a picture, what is actually happening, or like a equation, so you can say precipitation is like input. Okay, this much of amount of precipitation has occurred over this region. Then how much water is, suppose this is the, or how much water is reaching to the river at this point. I'm talking about this Q is discharge. Few terms are also synonym of each other. Q means what is the rate of flow. We also use another term, runoff. Okay. How much water is running off over here? So from the precipitation, how much water is reaching to this river, we are actually talking about that. So output is runoff. Then what are the losses? If we are talking about the precipitation, means in Indian context we will be talking about rainfall. Okay. If suppose we are interested in finding out the rainfall runoff relationship, so this much of rainfall is occurring, and from this much of rainfall, how much runoff is generated? So what are the different losses? One is, we have seen initial losses. Initial losses means one is interception and another is depression storage. ओके और क्या होगा इसमें, प्लस इनफिल्ट्रेशन इज आल्सो one kind of loss, plus evapotranspiration. EVT is for evapotranspiration, combinedly evaporation and transpiration. Okay, so these will be treated as a loss. So I can simply write, suppose P is the precipitation minus losses is equal to Q. Q is the runoff. So this kind of equation you will be looking here. Okay. Again, this will become very complex equation. In hydrology, one thing you will also see when you were studying about in the fluid mechanics and hydraulics, most of the time we were deriving the analytical equations. Okay, so you have seen two different types of equations. One is called analytical and another is empirical equation. Most of the time we were deriving the equations or by empirically or like that. But in case of hydrology, most of the time we will see we are working on the data. Okay, we are working on the past year records, and from that past year records we are trying to find out the things, how the things will happen in the future, or we will be trying to forecast the things. Okay, many times you will see the people say next year rainfall will occur or not occur. So it is again based on the previous record, based on the past records. That kind of statistical analysis we will see in this course many times, or most of the time. Statistical analysis, okay, or probabilistic analysis we will see in this course many times. So again, this will become very complex equation. You will be having the data for precipitation. We will see all these one by one. We will be talking about the precipitation, what is the mechanism of precipitation, and how this precipitation data is measured, and if you have some data, what kind of analysis you need to do. We will see in the next class. We will be talking about the precipitation. In few classes we will also be talking about these losses. How do we account for this initial loss? What is this infiltration, and how we will be measuring the data for what are the different types of empirical or analytical equations for infiltration. Again, for evapotranspiration, how we will be looking for that. So we will see in few classes. Unit 2 is mainly dedicated to runoff. So from this much of precipitation, how much runoff is getting there. Again, I will say this is complex equation because it is not easy to say how much water is going into the ground. Again, so many equations are there, and things will also be very complex. So this is also one of the complex equation in water resource, one of the complex equation in water resources engineering. We will see that thing. Okay. Now we see one more thing over here. Okay, again this will be assignment to all of you. You have to find out, if you talk about the whole earth, okay, earth's surface, the whole world, okay, the whole world. So what are the oceans you have for the surface water? So in the assignment you have to write the name of all the ocean. These are the ocean over the river. Okay. Then what are the major rivers all over the world? You have to write the name of all the rivers, major rivers. Major rivers means they are not the tributaries of any river. And what is the origin point and where they are ending. So end point. End point means when they are meeting the ocean, so that will be the end point. So major rivers in the world. Okay. Then you will come to India. And what are the major rivers in India? Like Ganga, Brahmaputra, like that. Okay. Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, Tapti, Mahanadi. These are the major rivers. Okay. Their origin and end point you have to find out from where there many rivers are originating from the Himalaya. And what are the tributaries of these rivers? Okay, जो भी rivers हैं उनकी tributaries कौन कौन सी हैं, you also have to reply for that. This is assignment to all of you. Suppose you live in Sultanpur city, so there is one river in Sultanpur, that is Gomti river. Okay. When you go near Jaunpur, this Gomti river is joining the river Ganga. So Gomti river will be tributary of river Ganga. Okay. So when we will be meeting in the next class, you will be coming with the answer of these questions. What are the oceans? Oceans कौन कौन से हैं? All of you know. We know about the continents. Okay. So continents are there and their oceans are there. Then about the major rivers, origin point, end point. In India, about the major rivers and their origin point, end point. For tributaries, you don't need to go in the detail. Or if you are interested, you can go in the detail of that. If for tributaries, what is the origin point and end point. But for the Gomti river, I will have a desire from to all of you. You will be knowing the what is the for Gomti river specifically, what is the catchment area, how much area of this river is there. So catchment area, how much catchment area of the Gomti river is there, this thing. Another thing is what is the origin point and what is the end point. You will be coming with the answer of that question, and I hope so. Today it was the first class. In the next class we will be talking about the precipitation. Okay. And I think 2 lectures will be needed for precipitation, and after that we will see different types of losses, and then we will move to the second unit, that will be about the. You will also find one thing, this will be very interesting subject to all of you. Okay. Why it is very interesting? That we will, because many times we are talking about the flood modeling and ground water. So again, in water resource engineering also you will see fluid mechanics and hydraulics. Most of the time we were deriving the equations, so they were the analytical subjects. But this is more application based subjects. So in every units we will be looking the things how they are practically implemented in the field. So that's why you can say it will be, although all the subjects are interesting. Okay, so today we are stopping here. Okay, thank you very much.